So we have our showcase area done. Now what we want to do is add our newsletter area with the inputs and then the boxes. And just to show you what I mean, if I pull the finished version over, we want this here, and then we want these boxes. In addition to that, we want to make it so that the primary button, the primary background, is this color here instead of the default Bootstrap. But before we do that, let's test the responsiveness, because I don't think we did that in the last video. So if we make this small, okay, so remember we have it on medium screens, expand MD. So that's when it's going to turn responsive as far as the menu goes. And this looks good. So the image disappears once we get down to large. And we go smaller. Now when we get here, you'll see it kind of breaks out of the background image. And that's fine for now, because what we're going to do later on, we're going to add some media queries to basically shrink this text down on smaller screens. In fact, we could do that now. We could get that over with now. It's pretty simple. So let's go to our CSS, and we're going to go to the bottom here. I'm going to make sure I like to put the media queries at the bottom, so make sure they stay down here. And what we want to do here is say on a max width screen of 768. Okay, so this means when the screen size or the device is less than 768 pixels, then this CSS will kick in. And what I'm going to do is set the showcase to have a min height of 500 pixels, and I also want to set the H1 in the showcase. Since we're using, this is a SCSS, a SAS file, I can simply put H1 in here, and it will only target the H1 in the showcase. And then we're going to say font size, and let's use a 4 rem unit. And let's save that. Well, it moves up anyways. And the reason it moves up is because I'm using the Prettier extension, so it kind of just changes a couple little things. But now, whoops. Now you can see that it fits. And you can tweak it more if you want. If you want to make this shorter or the text smaller, you can do that within the media queries. All right, there's no rule saying you have to do exactly what I do. If you guys want to tweak these projects a little bit, please do. All right, so let's go back to our HTML, and we're going to go under the showcase area, and this is where the newsletter is going to go. So this is going to be a section. I'm going to give it an ID of newsletter. I'm going to give it a class of bg-dark and also text white. Okay, so obviously we want a dark background with white text. And I'm going to add some padding on the top and bottom, so py5. And here we want a container to contain the content within this newsletter area. We want a row. And then what we're going to do here is have 3 4-column rows. And we want them to stack on small screens. So we're going to use the medium size here. We're going to say call -md-4. Actually, it should be class call md4, and let's do times 3. So in this first one, we want to put an input, and we're going to give it a class of form control, of course. And let's actually make this a large one, so we'll say form control LG. And then let's add a placeholder. And we'll say enter name. Okay, and then what I'll do is copy this input. We'll paste that in here. So this is going to be for the email. So we'll say enter email, and we can change it to an email field if we want. And then in this one, this last one, this is going to be a button. So I'm going to say button. We're going to give it a class of btn. It's going to be a btn primary button. We're also going to make it a large button, so we want to do btn-lg. We also want it to stretch all the way across, so btn-block. And inside here, we're going to put an icon, so we're going to do fas.fa-envelope dash open dash O. Okay, that's the Font Awesome icon that I want to use, and then we're just going to say subscribe, and that should do it. So let's save that and see what it looks like. Oops, did not want to do that. Okay, so that's what it should look like. Now this, obviously we don't want this color. Now if we weren't using Sass, we would have to just kind of overwrite the button primary class, but then for like the BG primary class, we'd also have to overwrite that. With Sass, we can make a custom Bootstrap file or compile a custom file that will make this any color we want. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back to VS Code, and we're going to go down to variables, _ variables SCSS. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an extra color. So let's see. Or we could change one of these. You know what we'll do? We'll just change the blue because it is kind of a blue, I guess. So we'll just change this to the main color, which is going to be 329 2A6. And we could have just as easy created another variable here called something else and set it to this, and then gone down to where it says primary and put that variable here. But instead, we're just going to change the blue value. All right, and if I go ahead and save this, it should compile. I have Koala open, and it's set to auto compile. So let's go back, and now the button is that color. And it's not just BTN primary that's going to change, it's anything to do with primary. Okay, so alerts or backgrounds, text, anything, it's going to use this color now. Now, one more thing I want to do here is if we go and we make this really small, you can see that there's no spacing in between these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a custom class to the inputs here. So I'm going to say right here in class, I'm going to add MB-RESP. So what this stands for is margin bottom responsive. So on responsive or mobile views, I want this to have a margin bottom. This is not a Bootstrap class. We're going to add the CSS for this. So we're going to add it to this one as well. So we'll say MB-RESP, and I'm going to save this, and then we only need this inside of our media query because we only want it on small screens. So let's go down here and let's just add outside of the showcase. We don't want to be inside the showcase, but we want to be inside the media query, and we want to say MB.RESP. Oops. And let's do margin bottom, and let's do 1 rem. So it'll be 16 pixels. And now you can see that it's separate. Now, I don't know why they don't have like the margin and padding spacing classes that are responsive. So I would think that you could do like my-sm or something like that. But as far as I know, that doesn't exist. It didn't exist in 4.0 or whatever. I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist in 4.1.1. So that's why I added our own class. So let's move on to the next section. So we can close up variables. Let's go to our index.html and go underneath the newsletter. And this is where we're going to put our boxes. So let's say comment boxes. I like to just comment everything nicely so we know, and give everything a section tag with an ID so we know where we're at. So we'll give this an ID of boxes, and we want the padding, so we'll do py-5. And then we're going to have a container because we want everything to be put in the middle, at least the boxes themselves. And then we're going to use the grid for this. So we want a row, and we're going to do basically 4 3-column divs for anything that's medium and above. So let's do call-md-3, Okay, so did I say 3, 4? If I said 3, 4 column divs, I meant 4, 3 column divs. So we can say this times 4. And in this first one here, we're going to use cards. So let's give it a class of card. Let's also make everything to the center. So we'll do text center. I want to do a border dash primary class here. And I'm also going to use the MB resp that we did, that custom class for small screens, so that they're not right on top of each other. So let's go ahead and add that. And inside the card, we want a card body class, which will give it all the padding and stuff like that. Inside the card body, we'll do an H3. And I want the color to be that bluish, tealish, greenish, whatever color, whatever you want to call that color. I'm not very good at identifying colors. But it's going to be text primary, and we'll say be better. Okay, so this is basically like a self-help type book. So let's put a paragraph with the class of text muted, which will make it a little lighter. And let's do lorem 10 tab, so we'll put 10 words in. And then each column D3 is going to be similar. They're going to all have these cards. So I'm going to copy the whole card div and go to the next one, paste that in. So this one here, we're going to change it to be smarter. And then I want them to alternate from being a light box with a primary border to a background, primary background. So we're going to change this to BG-primary like that. And then we want the text to be white. So we're going to say text white. And then that can stay the same. The text can stay the same. The next one I want to be the light color. So I'm going to copy this card, first one, go down to here, paste that in, and we'll change this to, let's say, be faster. Everything else I believe can stay the same. Yeah, because we want the border primary and so on. The last one I want to have the background primary. So I'm going to copy this card, which is the second one, and put that in here. And let's change this to be stronger. Okay. And this one we don't need the MB RESP because it's the last one. So let's save this and see what it looks like. Okay, so there we go. For the text, what did I do? I did text muted. So it's gray because this still has the text muted. We need to make this text white. So let's go ahead and change the ones that have the BG primary. You'll see right here we still have text white for the card, but not for this part here. We have text muted. So what we can do is just completely get rid of this class. And then this text white will take effect for everything. Same thing with this one that has BG primary. We'll get rid of the text muted. And that should do it. Okay, the heading is not correct. So let's see, for the H3, we still have text primary, so we want to change that, or actually just get rid of that. Okay, so wherever we have BG primary, which is the second and fourth, we want to get rid of the text primary here because it's the same color as the background, so we're not even seeing it. Okay, so now it's all white. And if we test the mobile version of this, there we go. So it looks pretty good. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. In the next one, we're going to start to add the About section with the little accordion. So if we look at the final product here, we want to do this whole section. We want this little accordion menu thing here as well. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.